Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? Well, I had a good day yesterday. My locks went 4-1. I had some unusual locks, but they won. Lock number one was Ohio State over Minnesota. Senior day, they had to win. Lock number two was the App State James Madison over. It was 49, and I hit 49. Third lock was Nebraska, Wisconsin under. Fifth lock was Bobby's LSU minus the 25. They killed them, and I knew they would. And I didn't go over, although it did make it over in a teaser because I knew Georgia State wasn't going to score on them. My only loser was a fuck up. Instead of taking Washington in the 8, which was the most obvious play I've ever seen, I decided to go over 54. I just thought Oregon State, good at home. Washington looked bad defensively against some teams. I thought, you know what? It's probably going to be high scoring. Washington, I know, is going to light it up. And I got kind of beat because of the rain. I'm sure they were more conservative. A lot of drop passes. So my bad there. And you wonder why you didn't just take the easy Washington and 8.5, which was a joke. Why I went to the over. You can't explain it. You study it. Other winners were, now I stayed away from Michigan, but they were not flat or they were not looking ahead. I don't buy that shit. They did not look ahead. A look-ahead game means they go down 21-0. Oh, they were looking ahead. They weren't. They were up 23-3. They were there. This is the real team we haven't seen because they haven't played anybody. This is the first good offense that they played all year besides UNLV. That's it. Penn State doesn't have a good offense, not like this. So in week 12, they play the first good offense. Can you imagine them in the Pac-10? Okay, they could not beat Oregon. I don't think they could beat Washington. And I'm not sure if they could handle a team like, a team like Arizona, a team like UCLA. I don't know if they could handle them. But I know they couldn't handle Oregon or Washington. They certainly couldn't handle Georgia, probably not Alabama. So if you're thinking of taking this team to win the national title, I got oceanfront property here in Detroit for you. All right, we hit the Kansas State over. Boise, I stay away from because of the quarterback. I ended up betting Cal. It was like 4 o'clock. I said, look, there's no way that Stanford the quarterback's playing. I saw the line go to 7. I said, okay. So I took Cal. That was an easy winner. Missouri, I lost with. LSU, I stayed away from the night games because I tend to lose those. So I forget it. Love Rice, as I said. North Texas, I hit. Troy, we lost with. Troy won by 7. Their defense wasn't as good. I mean, Lou Lafayette's playing with their third-string quarterback, so okay. Notre Dame comes in. I didn't play him. Vegas over Air Force. Georgia over Tennessee. UCF over T-Tech. Old Miss, I won by a point. I was laying 31, and they win 35-3. They win by 32. Oak State, I didn't play. This is the problem. Oak State, I'm playing. I lock them against UCF. They lose. So I don't play them here, figuring what the fuck's wrong. And then they kill Houston. And I'm like, this is the problem with betting. It's so psychological. Oregon was another strong play that I couldn't believe I didn't lock with Ohio State. Oklahoma, we lose the quarterback. Here we go again. And Colorado lost their quarterback. Sanders got hurt. He left in the second quarter. I got the over because Washington State scored 100 points. But he did get hurt. He's out. And then Oklahoma's quarterback gets hurt. Doesn't play the second half. I wonder why I didn't kill him. UCLA called that one over USC. The under hit, and UCLA was a live dog. Stayed away from Michigan. I just didn't like, of the two, I thought Minnesota was a weaker team than Maryland. And Ohio State at home on senior day was going to kill them, which they did. Michigan at Maryland, I really wasn't, it's where was their defense? Where was their offense? I mean, Maryland's losing to Northwestern. They're not a very good team, but they could throw the ball, and that's apparently Michigan has the same Achilles as Detroit. You got a good quarterback, and they can't handle it. Waiting for the Ohio State line to come out. I have West Virginia over Cincinnati. That was a field play. West Virginia is very good at home, sort of like the Cal play. There was no trend on Cal or West Virginia. I actually put them in the teaser together, and they both usually won. So that's why sometimes you feel it. So I had hit the Colorado over on Thursday, and pretty much I was just pretty hot. Army gets the win. I didn't play it. Louisville, Miami. Louisville wins. They ended up being the dog, which I didn't understand why, but I didn't play them. Tulane finally shows up. Rice kills Charlotte with the backup quarterback. See, that's the problem. I knew it was going to be the backup, but I didn't know how good he was. He was okay, and Charlotte sucks. So, again, that's a play that I would have easily played. They're laying 3, but I can't because of the quarterback. Ball State kills Kent. So how bad's Kent? They lose to a Z team, Ball State. Wyoming rips Hawaii. Virginia beats Duke with the backup quarterback. North Texas I had over Tulsa. I was proud of that one. North Texas. When you start hitting North Texas, you're pretty happy. Hey, Greg and John. Happy Sunday. I didn't know it was Thanksgiving Thursday. I did not know. Well, I know that Michigan Ohio State plays like Thanksgiving weekend. So I kind of thought about it, but I didn't know. I'm not working, so I don't know. Oh, we're off for Thanksgiving. So I'm, seeing it's the 18th and it's the 25th, and I'm like, really? And then it's Thursday, so I don't think I'll make a turkey for myself, but I might. Normally on the holidays, Christmas, New Year's, I make a steak or a roast or something like that. I might make a roast because it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But when you're not working, it doesn't really matter. It's the same routine. I don't know if I'll do maybe Thursday morning for an hour just to go through the games because there's 3 or 4 games Thursday. Georgia just looks – Brock Bowers played. I thought he was out. No, there he was. There's a couple players like that who I thought were out and they played. Wisconsin, I got the game under, and there's Mordecai in there, and I'm like, he's got a broken hand. He's not playing. And there he was, and I got lucky there. Well, I got kind of lucky, unlucky. It's 17-14. I'm under. This is the lock under, what is it? Under 43.5, and we're 17-14 with a minute left. They kick a field goal to tie. Now I got to fuck with overtime. Wisconsin scores, and now it's like, well, at least it's either score or nothing for Nebraska, who can't score anyway. And fortunately, they held them, and so they put up 41. I'm under 43, so I didn't get fucked by overtime. But I hate that because it should just be next score wins. I don't know why. We have to be fair and give everybody a turn. Dudes, they had the whole game to determine. Let's see. So Cal wins. Kansas State comes from behind in a good game. So it was a very good day for me. The only lock I lost was the Washington over instead of playing Washington. Otherwise, I was perfect. LSU, Ohio State, Wisconsin under, and App State. That's the one you never would have guessed, App State over. But then I had Washington over with it, unfortunately. So that's the problem. I lose Oklahoma, I lose 2 teasers. Washington, I lose 2 teasers. The rest, I hit. So it was a really good day. I was loaded too. I probably had 10, 12 teasers out there. Yeah, I was surprised. It was a 30-point first half for Washington. I said, I'll be all right. But I got a little fucked because of the rain, and then they just ran the ball a lot. Okay, 11:30. Let's go to the pros. I don't have a lock today. I have the free pick of the Niners. I played about one. Let's see what I played. I got one game. I've got 2 games. I got 3 games. I've got 4 games. I've got 5 games. I've got 6 games. Seven. I got 8 games going today. Well, one's obviously Philadelphia tomorrow. We got going. As I told you, that's the trap. So if I would have played all 6 of the locks with Philadelphia, I'd have this huge bet on Kansas City tomorrow. As it is, I've got a few games played with Philadelphia already. So then it's, do we trap it with Kansas City minus 2.5? I got 8.5 in Philly. All right, let's go down the line. This is refresh scores and odds as of this second. Cleveland 2.5, 33.5. Because Thompson Robinson's the quarterback over Walker. Really? And you want to bet that 2.5? I don't see it. We got Pitt as an under team. Cleveland an even team with Deshaun Watson. Thompson Robinson's a different story. Pickett's looking better. You got a 20 defense and a 19 defense. I'd go under, but it's 33.5. Just makes it a little bit 39.5. I think it's a doggy play. I think definitely go with the dog there. I think it'll be close. And you got Thompson Robinson. He just hasn't played. I don't know why they were even playing Watson. Thompson Robinson's probably better than him at this point. Houston 5.5, 47.5. That line hasn't changed. Arizona's a Z team, but now they got Kyler Murray, so let's give them a little more points. So let's call them a W team, which means they're going to score another 4 or 5 points with him running around. He can't throw, but he runs a lot. He's an okay thrower. Houston's an E team, gives up 21. Arizona gives up 26. Over under, it's 5.5, 47.5. Murray against Stroud, a small trend on Houston because Arizona stinks as a road dog. I don't know. I'll put scores in a minute. I haven't put the scores in yet. San Diego 3, 44.5, up from 43.5. As far as I see, Aaron Jones will be playing with the hamstring, so who knows how long and how effective. San Diego's pretty. I mean, Bosa's playing, Keenan Allen's playing. As far as I can see, Green Bay, you got love. They're an under team that scores 20 a game. San Diego is an over team that gives up 24. Over under 44.5. I got to believe this is over. San Diego in that Jet game, it wasn't their. They got a block punt or something, a punt return, and a pick six. They didn't really light up the Jets, as I didn't think they would. Oh no, I got hit by the avocado. Now it's here somewhere. So I think 38, I mean, 21-17, I can't believe, because San Diego plays a high-scoring game, and Green Bay's not going to stop them. The problem is Love stinks, so what do you do with him? And the defense is okay, but it's not going to stop San Diego. Detroit's couldn't stop it, and Detroit's probably is better defensively, although they're not a good defense. They don't have a secondary. Keenan Allen had, 14 catches on him? So I think you can go over 44-38. I hate taking San Diego -3 to +3. I don't see value there. I mean, you might as well just lay the 3. I mean, if you think San Diego is going to win, which I do, I just don't like the numbers. Really, I wish it was like a 1. I could take 4.5. I would be all over that. So I don't really love the 3. If I have to play it, I'd probably go over on the game. San Diego's a type of team like Miami. You go over or you don't play it. You don't play it under. The Big Ten game of the week. Washington 9.5, 38.5, up from 37.5 against the Giants. Danny DeVito against Thurston Howell III. Giants are the Z team. They give up 27. Washington, they're a W, which means they score about 21, give up 27. What do you do here? You can't take Washington and lay 3.5 ever. That'd be like taking Illinois laying 3.5 to Indiana. I mean, you can't do that. I don't know how you go over with Danny DeVito. I don't know what you do. This is a mess. This is absolutely 2 terrible teams, 2 terrible defenses, and 2 terrible quarterbacks. You know, you can't score if you don't have a quarterback, and right now neither team has a quarterback. Neither team has a defense. I mean, this is the NFL now. Terrible teams, terrible coaching. Are you like you're a Giant fan? You got this guy's your head coach. You're like going, oh yeah, we're gonna win. You can't even beat Washington with this coach. This is absolutely the only Giants just got crushed by Dallas. Washington's not going to crush them. They don't have the team to do it. Oh, I really don't know. Maybe Barkley, they run Barkley 60 times. Maybe it's a Giant in 15.5, but I just don't see how you play this game. Too many other fish in the pond. It's like dating the fat, ugly girl at the bar, the 65-year-old. Nah, I don't think so. Tennessee, Jacksonville. Jacksonville, 6.5 and 40, down from 7. Both teams are under. Both teams are 20 defense. This is Levis against Lawrence, even though Tannehill is probable. They're going with Levis, I guess. Lawrence, I hate. Levis, I don't know. Tannehill couldn't start in the Pac-10. That's how you judge the quarterback. Can they start for Washington, Oregon, or USC? If they can't, we can't bet on them. Over under 40. Tennessee tends to play low-scoring games. They got Henry. Levis lit it up at first, and now people see him. He's not lighting it up. I don't know. I don't trust Lawrence. I don't trust Jacksonville at all to win. Probably Tennessee here, 12.5 seems like a play, but Jacksonville's the type of team you have no idea. They could win by 20 and they could lose by 20 here. The only time I had idea was the Niners last week. I had idea. I knew they were going to lose, and they got creamed, and I was very happy with that. Because Jacksonville fucks you over. You don't know what to do with them. You know. Lawrence sucks, but he runs, and Etienne runs. They run all this play action shit, which didn't work against a good team. I think Tennessee keeps the game close. I think 12.5 is a big number with a decent Tennessee team. The Bears against the Lions. Detroit 7.5, 47.5. The Bears are a W team. They don't score, and they're not going to score much with Fields. Well, Fields is an over, makes the game over because he scores a lot running, not passing. So this is his first game. Is he ready to go? I don't know. So they're kind of a W question mark. Maybe they're more, but they still give up 26 a game. Detroit's an over team that gives up 23. Unless they're playing a good quarterback, then they give up 38. They play a non-quarterback like Riddler and Young and Mayfield and O'Connell at the Oakland, then they give up 10. So you have a schizophrenic team here with a schizophrenic coach, terrible ownership, and the fans here think they're going to the Super Bowl. But in the playoffs, you actually have to play good teams. You're not going to get Carolina and Atlanta in the playoffs. So sorry to burst your bubble. Detroit, they give it's Goff against Fields. I think Detroit against the Fields at home this is one of their will win by 20 games. I like Detroit minus the 1.5. Over under 47. If we have Fields, this is an over because Chicago can't stop Detroit and Detroit can't stop Chicago with Fields. Detroit's good against teams with quarterbacks that can't throw. Riddler, Young, Mayfield, O'Connell. They killed who they beat? Oakland, Green Bay, Carolina, Atlanta. I mean, none of them have a quarterback. That's who they beat. And then who do they have problems with? Baltimore, San Diego, Seattle. Hey, Alex. Well, okay. I guess my lock was Ohio State, LSU, the App State over, and what was the other one? And Wisconsin under. And then like an idiot, I went Washington over, not Washington. I can't believe I didn't play Washington, but I played it over. I didn't know we were gonna get rained on the whole game. But at least, and I lost my quarterback in the Oklahoma game. Oak State looked great. Kansas looked great. So I was pretty happy. You didn't bet Washington? Really? Wow. I didn't bet Michigan. I blocked Ohio State, and I knew LSU was going to kill them because they don't have Georgia State doesn't have an offense. Once I peeled it back to the last 5 games, they weren't scoring at all against Sunbelt teams. Oh, Michigan. Yeah, I didn't bet Michigan either. I didn't like Michigan. Again, we don't even know who they are. We finally learned in week 12 who Michigan is. Let me know when you get an Ohio State line because we're loading up on Ohio State will be the dog, and we're loading up on it. Yeah, they had a 30-point first half, and they just didn't score. And it was just the rain, I guess. I couldn't believe Washington didn't put up a 40 on them. So it happens. But, after it's over, it's easy to say, I should have had Washington as the dog instead of that. But I was a little afraid. Washington's defense hasn't been there. So I was a little – Oregon State scores a ton of points at home usually. So I was playing a little safe that, I know it'll be high scoring like the Oregon game. Next week, Washington State, Oregon State. Right now, if Oregon played Michigan, I would lay 14 points with Oregon. Michigan wouldn't have a chance. All right. So I like the Lions, the A team, the team against the no quarterback. This is not a Herbert. This is not – Lamar's not even there. This isn't even those Seattle. Kansas City, they got week one. Otherwise, that would have been a loss. They're going to lose to Denver, Russell Wilson. I don't know. They should beat Minnesota. They don't have a quarterback, but we'll see. And they're starting Dobbs today. I don't understand that. All right. So let's say Detroit at home. I'm not afraid of Fields. He couldn't start in the Pac-10, that's for sure. He couldn't start at Georgia. Let's get a real understanding of Fields. He got beat out by Stetson Bennett. He transferred to Ohio State because he got beat out by Stetson Bennett. Okay, that's Fields. All right. Oakland or Miami, 14-44.5. Wow, this is really moving. Why is the total going down? I might have to bet more over on the game. This is an over game by a mile. Miami's an over team. They give up 25. They score 30, over 30, I believe. Oakland, an under team, gives up 21. That's not going to come into play today. How do you lay 8 points with Miami with a team with no defense? They're all healthy, all the receivers, Tagliabue, the running back, Acne's back from A&M. Miami with the 25 defense. How do you lay 14? Oakland is playing better. They're not going to stop them. Max Crosby's not getting 5 sacks here, okay? Miami, this is going to be high scoring. This will be in the 60s, I think. I think Miami puts up over 40 in that, and the over-under is 44. Is it raining in Miami? Is this why I'm watching it go down? Or, I can't figure that out. Dallas, 10.5, 43.5, up from 41. People betting the over in this game. Dallas is the A team. They can beat everybody but San Francisco and Philadelphia. Give up 18, Micah Parsons. Carolina Z team gives up 27, doesn't score 20, and Vince Young's absolutely pathetic. So is Dak Prescott, but he's got the better team around him. I like Dallas minus 4.5. It's of course you want to stay under 3, but this is my problem with these math idiots. They'll sit there and go, well, no, I can only bet. I don't know the teams, but if it's 8, I can go down to 2. But I don't know the teams. I just know the numbers. How the fuck can you bet like that? So even though it's 4.5, who am I playing? I'm playing Vince Young and Carolina with the 25 defense, 27. I just lost to Philly. I won last week against the high school team, the Giants, and now I get the second high school team, Carolina. There's so many high school teams in the NFL, it's ridiculous. This team sucks. Dallas needs it. They're a couple games behind Philly. They're not going to let down. Look for Parsons to be all over Vince Young today. San Francisco, 13.5, 41.5, up from 11.5. I'm glad I bet it early. When I give you a free pick, that is in order to bet it that day, not to wait till fucking Sunday when it goes up from 11 to 13. Now you're laying over a touchdown. I'm not comfortable with that, so I hope you got the free pick in at 10 and 11. Tampa Bay's an under team. Mayfield's a little injured, but he's playing. They give up 19. That's an asterisk because it's against Atlanta and Carolina and Green Bay who can't score. The Niners are the Niners. They lost 3 in a row. They got better last week. They're not going to sit down this week. They're going to kill Tampa. My score is 37-10. This is one that I did score on. So your free plays take the Niners, but I hope you already got it in at 5.5. It's a tough bet at 13 to 7.5 at. Maybe you play a 7-point teaser to get to 6.5, but really shouldn't. They should kill them. I mean, there's still a team like this that loses 3 in a row and then they get the win. It's not like they let up. They're like, oh, by the way, you lost 3 in a row. You're tied with Seattle, I believe, for the division lead. They don't even have the division lead. Speaking of them, we got the Rams 1.5 now. I don't know why. 45.5. I've got Lockett and Metcalf today, and Walker, and Charbonnet, and I might even have the Georgia guy. who I'm waiting to see him. He's a stud running back. Can't believe they picked him up in the 7th round. What a steal. And the Lions get the guy from Alabama in the 1st round. Yeah, who's better? I'll take McIntosh any day. Both teams under. Both teams give up 22. Smith against Stafford. Stafford is playing with the thumb. Over under 45.5. I don't know what to do with that. I think I like the dog in the game. I think it'll be a close game. I got Coach Pete and the Rams. I like the Rams as the dog initially, but now that they're at 1.5, I get 7.5. I think you got to go Seattle in that one. Over under is tough because you'd think they're over. This should be over 39. I think that's the most logical play. Also, these over unders are so low; they're in the 40s, but yet they can't get there because you just got to watch for the teams with terrible quarterbacks. The Giants in Washington, Oakland, Young, Carolina, Mayfield's not great. Dobbs, I mean, Jesus Christ. None of them could start for Washington or Oregon or USC. I love it. I love USC lost and got killed yesterday. I loved it. Here's a guy that comes over and doesn't understand after all the years at Oklahoma, you need a defense also. And who did he lose to? Oregon killed him. Utah beat him. UCLA with that defense. I hope Bobby Bowe had a teaser on it because I know he bet over on it. And I told him, no, it's an under game. And it was. Buffalo, 8.5. Wow. What the hell's going on here? 39.5, down from 40. We'll go through injuries in a minute. I have a feeling on Buffalo here. Normally I'm on the JETSs all the time with that defense, the killer defense, but I just think Buffalo, I see a lot of probables, so they're getting intense. They can't lose. They must win. The Jets, I love the Jets, but Zach Wilson, it's the offensive coordinator. I mean, he was at Denver, and Russell Wilson had problems with him. He's good for Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers understands him. That's it. He's not good. This is not Aaron Rodgers he's calling plays for, but he thinks he is. So this is what's hurting him. It's hard for him to complete a pass. I think Buffalo is going to win by 10 here. Jets are an under. They give up 19. Great defense. 49er defense. Buffalo, statistically, they're an A team, but every time they've played anybody, they've gotten their ass kicked. So I think the Jets beat them the first game. I think Buffalo wins at home. But as I say, I'm not expecting 45-3. I'm expecting maybe like a 20-17. You're not going to score a lot on the Jets. Like I said, San Diego was misleading. It was a punt return and a pick six or something. They got 2 touchdowns on bullshit, not from their offense. Because you don't score on my Jet defense. All right. Denver, 3. This keeps moving from 3 to 2.5 back to 3. I bet it at 2.5. 3 and 41.5. Dobbs is still starting, even though Mullins is healthy, against Russell Wilson and Sean Payton. And Denver's the hottest team with the great defense. I think this is definitely an under game with Dobbs. I like Denver plus the 3.5 if you can get the 2.5 still. Both teams are under, but Minnesota's way under because of Dobbs, and Denver's under because their defense held Kansas City to 7. What did they do last week? They held somebody to a low score. They held Buffalo to 22. So they beat Buffalo. It's ironic. They played the Jets, and it was a 31-20 win. It went over because the Jets got turnovers and kicked 12 field goals in the game. A game you would have thought would be a 10-7 game. Denver's hot. They need to win. Minnesota's been hot. Jefferson's out. Dobbs, who got benched by Arizona. Okay, he's running a lot. He's not throwing. Denver, they got to play Mahomes twice. They get to play Russell Wilson twice. they've seen the running quarterback act. Look for Denver to win here. Plus the 3.5. Maybe it's a close game. Minnesota's been playing, but I don't trust Dobbs. Kirk Cousins, I would take the dog. With Dobbs, I can't. I got to go Denver, who's very hot right now. And last but not least, Kansas City, 2.5, 45.5 to Philadelphia. I got a 24-21 Kansas City game. I two strong B teams. KC is an under team, 16 defense, and it's for real. Philadelphia's a 22 defense. I don't see a lot of points. 45. This is not like before where this game's going to be 45-44, like the Super Bowl. They have a very strong defense. They got almost a San Francisco defense or a Jet defense, Kansas City. But Philadelphia with the strong offense and Hurts running and the let's go play rugby. I don't think you're going to knock Philly out. They're too strong to just 20-0 them. If it happens, it happens. I don't think so. So I got 24-21 KC. Again, if you've already bet Philly as I've instructed, I think I had a Georgia Philly and a Cal Philly. I got two in. I got Philly with a pro Dene. And then now tomorrow, I know I got two open Philly teasers. It's now I can play Kansas City -2.5, trap the game. I'll let you know tomorrow if I do it. I might not do it. I might say, you know what? I got 8.5. It all depends how the day is. If I'm up, I don't need to trap it. If I'm down, I might need to trap it. So it depends. So that's your lines. Let's go to injuries. I want to see what the fuck's happening in some of these. All right, Arizona. Couple receivers out, Wilson and Pascal. I have no idea. Oh, E. Turner, the linebacker's questionable. Who the fuck? Zach Ertz has been out. Again, Kyler Murray's playing, and it looks like Connor's playing. Atlanta's off this week. Baltimore's played. Buffalo. A lot of probables. Linebacker, cornerback, Micah Hyde, Josh Allen. See, this is why I like Buffalo. They're all probable. They're saying, fuck it, we're playing. Knox is out, the tight end. I don't know. Who's D. Harris, the running back? I have no idea who these guys are. Milano, I know. He's out, IR. All right. Carolina, Chenault's playing. Not that that's going to help him. Bryce Young, probable with the thigh. So if I bet Carolina, I know Bryce Young would get hurt, and then I'd have another quarterback out for me. Shark is playing the wide receivers, so they're all gunning for Dallas. Yeah, I'm sure Dallas. Micah Parsons is shaking. Chicago, Foreman running back is probable, and Fields is playing with the thumb. Good luck on that. Joe Burrow out for the season with the wrist. It was the play before. He gets sacked. He lands on his wrist. That's when he got hurt. Not throwing the pass. I've never seen a guy throw the pass. So, Alex, had you just saw the play before when he landed, he probably winced then. You would have then figured. But it would have been better to wait for the touchdown. Then you got Baltimore -1. But, yeah, I mean, you've got to be watching the game at that time and make the bet at that time. I don't have that much interest in watching games on the Peacock Network. Cleveland against Pittsburgh. So let's see. A lot of probables. Let's see. Deshaun Watson's out. We know with the shoulder. Jesus Christ, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. They got 14, 15. They got 15 players out. Out. They're out. They're on the IR. They're out. They're not even hurt. They're out. 15 players. You want to give 2.5 to Pitt? Yeah, okay. I'll take 8.5 all day. 15 players out, and you think it doesn't matter? Okay. Dallas. Receivers playing. Lewis from Michigan, the cornerback playing. Diggs and Vander Esch are out. The only problem is Dak Prescott's healthy. That's a tough one to overcome. Denver, Jerry Jeudy probable. He missed a lot, typical Alabama receiver, but he now with Sean Payton, all of a sudden he's not hurt. Funny how that happens. You get a chance to win. It's a big difference. Probables. Some wide receiver out with the hamstring. And they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They got 9, 10 outs. IRs and outs. The Lions, guard out. Defensive lineman, I never heard of Bugs. Never heard of him. Out. Couple of probables. Raymond playing. Regnell. Everybody makes a big deal about Regnell, the center. They won't sign him. The Lions don't re-sign anybody. Vitae, the guard, out. So they got a lot of offensive linemen out. Sudfeld and Hooker. Why is Hooker still out? I mean, he should be getting some game time experience. I mean, didn't they watch him at Tennessee and see him beat Alabama? That's enough for me to play the guy. Fuck, you don't have defenses that good in the NFL, as good as Alabama's. Green Bay, Watson probable, Aaron Jones probable, Quay Walker, my man from Georgia, probable, linebacker. A lot of questionables. See, they only got 1, 2, 3, 4. They only got 5 guys out. And then you see some of these teams with 13, 15. Cleveland, the whole team's out with the flu. Houston. Safety out, hamstring, linebacker out, running back out. Oh, Jesus. Then we get down here. Pierce is out, the running back. It's the only guy I've heard of on the team. A couple of tackles are probable. Cares about the probable. Some more outs. Jesus Christ. How many guys are out? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 20, 22 guys on the Houston team are out, which means based on the position, you've got guys working at the grocery store playing half your positions. 22 guys is the whole team is 22. 22 guys out, IR out, not even hurt, out. I mean, hurt serious enough to be out. And you've got CJ Stroud as your quarterback. You want to know why it's hard to bet NFL right now? How do you bet Houston? They got 22 guys that are out, IR, inactive, whatever. You want to bet this team? Be my guest. You want to bet CJ Stroud? Be my guest. Indy's off. We don't care. Jacksonville. Lawrence probable at the knee. That's all I know. Kansas City for Monday night. Watson probable, linebacker probably. Everybody. Tony's playing, McKinnon's playing, Edwards, Chocolate Eclair's playing. So they're all like, yeah, okay, we're playing. They might not play for certain teams, but against Philly, they're all playing. San Diego, a couple of outs, a couple more outs. Keenan Allen He's probable. Bosa is probable. That's all we care about. The Rams, a lot of probables. Stafford probable with the thumb. So if I'm Seattle, I'm going after the thumb. I need Jack Tatum in the game. Oakland. I don't know. They won't play my running back from UTSA. I'm a little pissed off at that. He's better than any running back they got, and they wonder why they lose. Max Crosby, questionable with the knee, but he'll play. He'll take the needle. I mean, there's nobody on the team nobody would know him anyway. Miami, Acne, the running back from A&M, probable. Couple offensive linemen out. Mozart, running back, probable. Claypool out, the wide receiver. Ahmed, running back. I don't know what college he went to. He's playing. Waddle is good. Craycraft is good. So, yeah, they're going to score a ton of points because they're playing Oakland. I mean, yeah, okay. Minnesota. Mullins is probable, but I think they're going with Joshua Dobbs unless they made a last check in. Jefferson's out. Madison probable with concussion. Hull's out with the concussion. Dobbs probable. So I think Dobbs is going to start. Cam Akers out with an Achilles. A lot of Achilles injuries. The Giants. There's nobody on the Barkley probable with an ankle. The one guy we know. Hyatt. I think he's the receiver from Tennessee. What the hell is he doing on the Giants? Poor guy. He'd go back to Tennessee. This is what he gets for leaving, not playing his senior year. I'm on the Giants. Danny DeVito, probable with a shoulder. Tyrod Taylor's out. So you've wasted all your money on Daniel Jones. Now, how do you draft? Are you going to draft Michael Penix? Now what do? You don't have money. You're giving Daniel Jones, who was never a quarterback, $35 million a year. Are you crazy? What a bunch of idiots. The JETSs, a lot of outs. Tackle out, tight end out, linebacker out, OT, another tackle out. Wilson's playing, the receiver. Randall Cobb's questionable. Jesus Christ, they got a ton also. Aaron Rodgers, of course. Well, now he's got an ankle. Did you realize Brock Bowers played yesterday? I thought he was out. He played, caught a touchdown pass. I'm all excited. I got my full strength Georgia team again. New England. Boutte, my guy from LSU, out with the hamstring. See, these guys get the hamstring, they're out the whole year, but we don't want to play them in the preseason. We don't want to get them hurt. We'd rather get him hurt week 1 with the hamstring injury, and he's out the whole year. That makes much more sense than getting him hurt in the preseason. New Orleans, do they play tonight? I don't think they do. Philly, probable. Safety Evans is out. Probables. Hurts, probable. He's got a knee. He's had a knee for a while. Nakobe Dean, the linebacker from Georgia, out. Scott, the running back, questionable with a personal. Well, fuck the personal. You're playing football. Goddard's out. Pittsburgh, Freiermuth is finally playing. He's been out a while. Dennis Johnson, wide receiver, is playing. Haywood, defensive tackle, is questionable. They're pretty healthy, Pittsburgh. My Niner team, let's see. I don't see a Bozon here, and I don't see McCaffrey, so that's good news. Seattle, Lockett is playing, and a lot of players, big game. This is the big game. McIntosh, questionable with the knee. Tampa, they're pretty healthy. They got a couple of guys with the IRs, and that's it. Tennessee, Tannehill's probable with an ankle, but they're going to go with Levis. Levis is probable with a foot. I don't see Henry on here, so that's a good sign. This should be a competitive game. And then Washington, I couldn't tell you a name of anybody on the team anyway. Samuel and Gibson, or Gibson, the running back's doubtful. Samuel, the receiver's probable, whoever they are. Where are you finding these guys from? East Carolina? Okay, that's your picks. Let's see if there's a Michigan Ohio State line. Sometimes the big games they will throw out on Sunday. Let's see. I bet there is more MAC on there will be a lot on Thursday. 11:21. So Tuesday there's 2 MAC games. And then Thursday's Ole Miss, Old Mississippi State, one of my favorites. Friday, Miami and BC, who cares? Some more MACs. Iowa was Nebraska. Iowa's clinched the division. How can they be? So they're going to play what? Michigan, Ohio State winner? What the hell is that? So if Iowa wins, do they go into the playoff with 12 losses? What is that about? Look at this over-under. Iowa, Nebraska, over-under 27.5. And it's probably still an under game. Oklahoma, TCU, 12.5. But is Gabriel going to play? Tulane, 2.5 over UTSA. I smell a good dog there. Missouri at Arkansas. Love my Missouri team. Texas, 14 over T-Tech. This is all Friday. Penn State, 20.5 over Michigan State. Oregon, 13.5 over Oregon State. Yeah. Kansas and Cincinnati. Ooh, love that one. Give me Kansas as a dog, please. Colorado, Utah, and Sanders got hurt, so I don't know if he's playing. Kansas State against Iowa State. Iowa State gave Texas a pretty good. Oh, here we go. Thank you, God. Michigan, 3.5, 46.5. Take Ohio State, 9.5. Bet the car on it. Yeah, I see it. 3.5, 46.5. And for you money liners, you get plus 146, so you can jump on it there. But I'd much rather play the money on the Ohio State 9.5. And that line shouldn't move too much. I was hoping for 6, get it 12, but Ohio State 9.5. Forget about it. Over under 46.5. That's an under 52.5 all day. Where are they going to score from? Ohio State with the killer defense. Maryland got to Michigan throwing the ball, but Ohio State doesn't. I don't know. They're not. I don't think they'll score much on Michigan, but 52.5, I think you can definitely go there. So this is a double. This is Ohio State and the under. Louisville, Kentucky, not a bad game. Pitt and Duke. LSU, A&M, LSU 13.5, 64.5. Love the over in this game unless the A&M quarterback got hurt. Troy, Southern Miss. Vegas, 3.5 over San Jose State. I haven't seen the late game. I don't know. Lou Lafayette against Lou Monroe. VTech against Virginia. Tennessee, Vanderbilt. Yeah, all the Arizona States. Oh, I like Arizona here. Alabama, Auburn. Alabama, 14, 48.5 over Auburn, 48.5. Alabama will beat them by 30. Really? BYU, Oak State. I get my revenge. Oak State. Washington, 15.5 over Washington State. This is where we get the over, 66.5 at Washington, 15.5. That's a big number. Washington State can score. And Washington, if it's not pouring rain out, this should be high scoring. Florida State 12.5 over Florida. The quarterback got hurt. They showed that they're all like checking in with the North Alabama game. Like, okay, it's a high school team. Quit fucking going to that game so I can see Florida State score like it's against North Alabama. So they're 12.5. I don't see how, unless the quarterback's okay. I didn't see the play. Florida's not that bad. They played Missouri pretty good. Notre Dame, Stanford. Notre Dame will kill them. Georgia, Georgia Tech. Interesting. This is probably an over. Georgia Tech scores. No defense. Georgia, we know. Clemson, South Carolina, North Carolina State. Tease the dog. Cal and UCLA. Ooh, very interesting. Offense against defense. See, it sucks though. They got all high for Stanford and USC. Now they got to play each other. What fuck kind of scheduling is this? And Colorado State at Hawaii. So we've got that 3.5. Let's double check the line again. It's 12.08. Cleveland 2.5. Yeah. See, 8.5. Now it's up to 34.5. See, I think the sharps listen and then they go bet on my picks. I make a comment. Next thing you know, the line moved. Cleveland 2.5, 34.5. It makes the under a little better at 40.5. I don't know where you're getting points from in this game. 220 defenses. Houston 5.5, 47.5. San Diego 3, 43.5. Too bad we can't get a San Diego 2.5. I would take it plus 3.5. Washington 9.5, 30.5, 38.5. Jacksonville 6.5 and 40. So we're not getting line movements, which is good. 7.5, 47.5 at the Lions. Miami 14, 44.5. Like that over. Dallas 10.5, 43.5. Go Cowboys. How about them Cowboys? 49ers by the half, by the extra point, go 6.5, 41.5. I don't know. My line to start was 10. I don't know what they're dicking around with. LA 1.5, 45.5. Hasn't moved. Buffalo 8.5, 39.5. Denver's 3 now, 41.5. And KC 2.5, 45.5. So no, this would tell me somebody at 12-10 saying I'm playing or I'm not playing, and I don't see that. I'm looking. There was a thing. There was a thing on Europe going to the gold standard, which I'm not quite sure. I think it was accurate. I'm just looking. But that'll be huge for our gold price. It was in Google. Anyway, so what it said was that all the central banks in Europe were buying enough gold for their GDP, which was going to, which was getting ready to go on the gold standard. I don't know if they understand it. Why would you get rid of your gold if you had too much gold? And why would you have it based on your GDP, which is a moving target? Nothing made sense there. I would have as much gold as I can. So, they're trying to say, well, China and Russia got for their GDP. And it's like, that's not how it works. It's not for the GDP. You just back your money by gold and you raise the price of the gold to cover all the dollars. But it does seem like they're all headed that way. Oh, by the way, the U.S. has no gold. So if you look at Money Heist, at the end of Money Heist, the whole point of getting out, the professor figures all the markets are collapsing, the debt's going to the moon because there's no gold to back any of the dollars. And it's the big, this is it. Spain's economy is collapsing, and which leads me to, we don't have gold here and we have huge debt. Our economy should be collapsing. However, in Money Heist, he's showing you that there's no gold in there. This is how he got the gold out. And then he shows the Navy searching for the gold, meaning, well, why are they searching? It must be out. So with that said, the reason the U.S. never lets you audit Fort Knox or the Federal Reserve in New York is because there is no gold there. And so you think there's 8,000 tons, but there isn't 8,000 tons. And because they won't allow the audit, as I said, if you really had it there, you would say, here it is. Right? I tell you, I'm dating Jenna. I show you a picture of her. Here's Jenna. That way I can prove I actually am. So why would you, if you really had 8,000 tons, you'd say, here it is. But they don't allow an audit because there isn't any. Right? So therefore, we're a way worse situation because our debt's so big and we have no gold to back it up. We don't even have the brass that the professor gave him back. So this is a total nightmare. This is a total nightmare for the U.S. Anyway, with all these other countries going to the gold standard now, Europe, I'm talking all of Europe. I don't know about Switzerland because they're not included in the euro. And, Germany, Italy, France, not England. They're too stupid. They don't have any gold either. And the U.S., and then we know Russia and BRICS are going to the gold-backed currency. So going to be a big problem there. So all we can do is prepare. And, we all want the gold price to go up, and it will soon. Sooner than later, you're better off with gold than without it. Then I can retire and stop looking at these stupid job ads. There's a job I got a call tomorrow at 6:00 from an attorney for a senior financial analyst, and they want to pay me $21 an hour. Now, there's no way in hell I'm taking that. I'll say here's my thought process, your attorneys. Well, what do you charge for your rate to, help somebody out? What's your legal charge? And they'll say, $500 an hour. Okay. And then I'll say, so what you're asking me to do is to pay you $100 an hour because I make over 100 and you only want to pay me $21 an hour is what, 40 hours is 800 times 52 weeks is like 40 grand. You only want to pay me, like half of what I'm worth, not even half. Are you out of your fucking mind? I'm taking the interview just to tell him to go fuck himself, right? I'm not taking it. I don't want a job that's going to pay me under value. I'm insulting myself if I do that. I know what I'm worth. I know what I get paid. $20 an hour. But I want to meet the guy who thinks leave it to an attorney to come think he's this smart. So that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm trying to have fun because, in the interview, you're all proper and, everything and acting your best. And I'm going to just shove it up his ass. I'm going to say, you're a motherfucker to think you can get somebody with a master's degree for $21 an hour. Are you out of your mind? What's your thought process there, buddy? I'm not negotiable. So just like you want to charge $500 an hour, as to defend somebody, that's fine. And I expect that's what you expect to get, but not here. So anyway, 12:17, we got till 1. Questions or comments, feel free. I don't have a lot going. I had all college locks, go 5-1 in my college locks. I love that I was creative. I had LSU, I had Ohio State. Normally I don't lock those teams. I play them, but don't. Like Georgia, I didn't lock. I should have. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know why I didn't play Washington as the dog, and I played them over. Well, I didn't know there was all this rain coming, but I did sense something when the line started to drop on the total, and I didn't see an injury. I'm like, what the fuck? But Ugly Boogie looked pathetic yesterday. That's what I forgot. Ugly Booglia against Penix, and I should have bet Penix just on that. Just keep it simple, stupid, right? Like this week, Penix against Ward, you got to go Penix. And Bo Nix against Ugly Booglia. I don't think Oregon State's going to score. They have the running back, Rodriguez or Ramirez or somebody. He looks pretty good. But Ugly Booglia is going to get sacked 15 times. They're in big trouble with Oregon's defense. All right. Relating to scams, if anybody asks for a gift card, it's a scam. Sure as shit. So don't ever, if anybody, friends, foes, business, they ask for gift cards, it's 100% a scam. Run fast. That's all I can tell you there. Let's fill in our scores. All right. Pitt, Cleveland. 21-20 Pitt. Arizona, Houston. 24-17. Houston. San Diego, Green Bay. 27-20 San Diego. Giants in Washington. 13-3 Washington. Tennessee, Jacksonville. 24-21 Jacksonville. Detroit, Chicago. 35-17 Detroit. Oakland, Miami. 42-10 for Miami. Dallas, Carolina. 28-10 Dallas. Frisco, I already got 37-10. Rams in Seattle, 23-20. I'll give the Rams the nod. Buffalo and the Jets, 24-13 Buffalo. Denver, Minnesota. 24-10 Denver. And KC, I already had 24-21. Those just come to me. Like I'm looking at the game and I go, what do I think? And then the number pops into my head. But I'm looking at the defense. So like Houston, Arizona, I'm looking at Arizona with the 26 defense. Or I'm looking at Miami. Well, they're going to light it up. Dallas against the 27 defense. Good luck scoring on the Niners. Good luck scoring on the Jets and Buffalo. Good luck scoring on Denver with Dobbs and Philly, KC. I just think it'll be that close. So those are the scores. So again, important games. Pitt, Cleveland. They're both tied for second in the division. San Diego, Green Bay. San Diego really, I think they're out of it with the loss last week, but they really need it. Jacksonville's in the lead against Tennessee. Tennessee's really bad. They got to win out. Jacksonville got crushed last week by the Niners. We'll see. Detroit needs the game, as they're only got a game and a half lead up on Minnesota now. They got such an easy schedule that they're being Michigan. Everybody thinks they're good because the schedule is so easy. Well, we'll see. But in this case, I don't see it. No, this is again the weak Bear team. So I think all they got left, they got New Orleans, I think, and they got Denver. I know they played KC, San Diego, and Oakland, so they got Denver. I think they got Dallas. I don't know if they got Philly. I've never seen a schedule like this that most of these teams they played aren't even NFL teams. They're in the NFL, but they're not. They couldn't win a game in the Pac-10 or the SEC. That's how bad this league is. Dallas is in a must-win game as they're a couple games behind Philly, and they get a chance if Philly loses to KC, so they're really focused. They realize they can get a game. Miami's in first place somehow, and they suck. Frisco is tied with Seattle. They need it, as does Seattle. They both need the game. The Rams are a few games behind, but there's enough that they have to win out. Buffalo and the Jets. Buffalo is a couple games behind Miami. They have to win it. So do the Jets, who think they're still in it, especially if they get Aaron Rodgers back. Minnesota 2 back. They need it. Denver, they're a few games back, but they realize they can make the playoffs. They're like 3-4 or something like that, or no, 10. It must be 4-6 or something. So they need it. And then Philly and KC are in the lead in there. So this is really just pound the chest going, we're better. And it's from the Super Bowl. It's revenge for Philly. KC doesn't have the receivers. So this should be a good game. And you got to go with the dog. You got really, in this case, B against B, but it's really the top two teams. You take the dog in the game. That's it. And teaser plays. Houston is a teaser trend. San Diego is a good play here. The Giants actually are a good play, but now with Danny DeVito. Detroit is a good play. The Bears suck on the road. Miami's a good play. They're a very strong home favorite. Dallas is a good play as a road favorite. Frisco is 13-1 as a home favorite against Tampa. Minnesota is either a strong road dog, or Denver sucks as a home favorite. But again, this is the problem with the trends, is now you got Sean Payton and they're playing much better. So it's just, you throw it out, you just watch what they're doing and saying, they look good. And then Philly KC is a double trend. Philly, a very strong in a teaser, and KC's, they're not very strong as a home favorite because they're usually laying 10 points and they win by 3. But if you just take them to win, they're very strong at home. The play teams this week are in a teaser: Kansas City, San Diego, Minnesota, Philadelphia, Houston, the Jets, and, well, I got many already. So Philly plays KC, so that's a wash. San Diego's got Green Bay as a favorite. Minnie is a dog, and then Houston's a home favorite, and the JETSs are road doggies. The play against teams: Oakland. So we like Miami there. New England, who sucks. New Orleans is off. Carolina, who sucks. Washington, who sucks. Arizona, who sucks. San Diego plays every game close. Kansas City, because they lay a lot, even though they win, you can bet against them. Chicago, terrible team. LA's had Stafford injuries, and Atlanta, who's off. So you can see the real good teams, Kansas City, Philadelphia, San Diego, are good play teams. And then you can see the weak teams, Oakland, New England, Carolina, Washington, Arizona, Chicago, Atlanta. Those are the ones you bet against. So they lose. And in the NFL, the lines are pretty close. It's not like college where LSU's laying 31 yesterday. So it's not very close to that, right? So that's what you have to realize. So the bad teams will lose, and then you bet against them and you win. So if we look at that today, Pitt and Cleveland are pretty good teams. Arizona sucks, so they'd be a bet against Houston. San Diego, Green Bay play the dog in the game pretty much. The Giants and Washington, they both suck, so you bet against both of them. And I can see that. I can see 15.5 and the Giants winning, 3.5 and Washington winning. Tennessee, Jacksonville, both teams are middle of the road. Nothing there. Chicago, Detroit. We took Detroit because of Chicago sucking, and Detroit gets a running quarterback. Oakland, Miami. Oakland sucks. Miami is not that good, but an over team. Dallas, Carolina. Carolina's the Z team, so you take Dallas. Tampa, Frisco. It's Frisco. They're the best team. Tampa is, they're not that good. Seattle and the Rams, dead even. Take the doggy. The Jets, Buffalo, dead even. You can probably take the doggy there, but we like Buffalo, but it's an either way. Mini Denver's pretty even, and Philly, KC's pretty even. Well, it's dead even, that one. So that's kind of how you look at it in the NFL, sort of like the Z teams, and we still do that. So the Z teams today, Arizona, the New York Giants, Carolina, and then the W's are who score an extra couple of points. Washington, Chicago, those two. So basically, if you just could trend the teams and rank them, you would just bet against the Z teams. You'd probably make money today. So again, college, wonderful day yesterday. I like when I have Cal over or Stanford and they win, and West Virginia at home wins, and the Kansas over. Those are the games that I really like because I just felt Cal. I mean, there's no trend on it, but the way Cal's been playing, and Stanford, if the quarterback wasn't going to play, that's exactly what happened. Same thing in West Virginia. They're so strong at home. Now, what's deceiving in some of these games, you look at the quarterback, like West Virginia, and he didn't do anything throwing the ball. But then he ran like 12 times for 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. And that's really the hidden gem, is the running quarterback. Because he doesn't throw much. So he doesn't throw for 200 yards. So you're like, he's not that good. Or I tend to look at touchdowns, interceptions. So I see Penix, 26 touchdowns, 2 picks. And Bo Nix, same thing. And then you get to West Virginia, he's got like 5 touchdowns and 2 picks. And you go, he's not that good. But he runs for another 10 touchdowns. So that's why sometimes you got to dig in, especially in college. They run a little bit more. Then you get the injuries to the running. Like Kansas's quarterback's out, but their backup's really good. So I don't mind him. But that's what you look at. My running back from Oklahoma State, can never remember his last name. His first name's Ali. He's leading the country in running. And he had another 2 or 3 touchdowns yesterday. I think he had 180 yards. And my thought was, where the fuck was that against UCF? Why didn't they do that against UCF? But against Houston, they do. So when they have the lead, they run them, and nobody can stop them. UCF, the kid threw 3 interceptions, Bowman, and then it led to where we got to throw the ball. The coach panicked, forgetting that his weapon is his running back. Just give him the ball. He'll get you the touchdowns. You don't need to throw for it. And that was the mistake. So every once in a while, the game gets out. Now the question is psychological. we love Oak State. They beat Kansas State. They beat Kansas. They beat Oklahoma. We play them against UCF. Not really smart because they probably are going to let down from the Oklahoma game, Oklahoma State. They lose to UCF, and then we miss yesterday. We don't play them against Houston because we're confused. I mean, look how good they were, and then they lost 44-3 to UCF. We're like, what the fuck? And that's really what the problem is. You're sort of you've got to kind of, I don't know if you wipe it out or not, but I think they lost, so then you don't want to play them and lose again with them. You know, it's look at my New Mexico State team. They beat fucking Auburn straight out by like 30 points. I think they won 31-10 over Auburn. New Mexico State. And I locked them the first week. How they lost to UMass, I'll never understand. UMass sucks. They've sucked the whole year. Mexico State's a really good team, and they lost that game. That's the problem with the first week. Any other week, I bet them. I bet you they've covered. And here I could have had them with, the quarterback was questionable. So I got to see the box score there. But any other week, it's an easy win. So that's what we have. So anyway, good luck on your pros today, www.teaserking.com. I don't have a lot going. We'll probably give the free play Ohio State next week. I need to analyze it and look at injuries first before I play it. This bet is based on defense for Ohio State next week because we've had the offense and they haven't shown up. Mr. C.J. Stroud, who choked twice against Michigan. That's what I remember. I don't remember the Georgia game. I remember the Michigan games when he was 10 of 25 for 150 yards and 3 picks. And when I needed him in the fourth quarter, when the game's tied, he doesn't show up. Michigan gets a couple of touchdowns and I lose. That's what I remember C.J. Stroud. The biggest game, he doesn't come through. That's why I remember Jared Goff, the biggest games, he didn't come through. So with that said, this bet on Ohio State is based on defense, as most of my games. I want to look at the defense and see, like, I know Ohio State yesterday, Minnesota, their defense isn't very good. And they weren't looking at – Michigan did not look ahead. It was a matchup problem of them finally playing a decent quarterback. Tagovailoa is not a good quarterback. He's average. But they hadn't played anybody. What? Minnesota's quarterback sucks. Nebraska's quarterback sucks. Michigan State's quarterback sucks. Who did they play? Rutgers. Their quarterback's terrible. So they hadn't played. It's amazing. They hadn't played the quarterback. I think there's this shift to the running quarterback, but they suck. They're not quarterbacks. You're putting a running back in and telling him to throw, and they don't have the thing. Maybe that's why they go to the Peyton Manning camp to draft their quarterbacks, but he does a bad job of Daniel Jones is an example of a Manning quarterback. We don't want quarterbacks from Manning. Now, if Penix and Bo Nix went to his camp, fine, but we're not drafting him because he went to the camp. We're drafting him what they look like. Daniel Jones did not look good at Duke. Anyway, that's what we're looking at. So we're looking. That's why we look at the defense. If it's a strong defense, like a Michigan and Ohio State, then you can't really. You got to bet unders, and you got to bet. It's hard to bet an explosive team against those defenses. They're not going to do much because a good defense will shut down a good offense, as Georgia showed you again at Tennessee. Tennessee had a pretty good offense. Not a chance against Georgia. That's why we bet Georgia all the time. Their defense. Now they got an offense with the defense. I think the only team that can beat Georgia is Oregon. Oregon looks strong. I don't even know if they'll get in because if Washington wins Washington State and then they win against whoever in the conference championship game, they're in because they're undefeated. So Washington will go in undefeated, and Oregon better be one of the other teams because there's not There's Georgia and there's Oregon. Florida State lost their quarterback. Maybe we'll have to see how seriously his injury was. But if he's out, then Oregon should jump him. So it should be Washington, Oregon, Georgia, and then do you go with Michigan, Ohio State winner? Do you go with Alabama? Do you go with Texas because they beat Alabama? That's Alabama's problem because they're going to have to play Georgia. They don't have a chance. Not with Milrose. Sorry. So Georgia wins, Alabama's out, and then it's Texas, who only lost to Oklahoma. We'll see. So this is where it gets really strange because you don't have the best four teams in there. The best four teams are right now Georgia, Washington, and Oregon, and then probably whoever wins the Michigan Ohio State game. Texas is right up there. I mean, I'd say Kansas State, but they had a few bad games. And Oak State, I think, had that bad game to UCF. I think they're as good as anybody when they don't turn the ball over. That's it. I mean, SEC, it's just Georgia. They're in a league by themselves. Georgia, Oregon would be a great final if they can get it. What are you going to do? How do you leave them out? Even if Washington wins, so Washington comes in, Oregon's got to be in that final. How the fuck not? And if Oregon gets Washington again, Oregon's going to beat them. This defense looks really good. I don't know how Washington beat them in the first time. But see, that's what happens. They lose, then they get really fired up, and now Oregon's running the table because they lost to Washington. Washington, on the other hand, won. You don't see the same fire in Washington as you see in Oregon, right? Oregon's killing everybody, and Washington's sleeping through it, just doing enough to win. It's a whole different mindset. The chase versus the chaser. So we'll this should be interesting down the stretch here. We got next week's games, and then here you'll see the playoff teams, the teams that need to win. All the playoff teams will blow out, just like we did. Ohio State and LSU was not really in, but the game I was surprised was Mississippi and Lou Monroe, and they beat them 35-3. Lane 37, so we won Lane 31, but they only put up 35 points. This Mississippi team, I was shocked by that. But again, it's because it's a Z team. We took Ole Miss. I mean, I didn't mind laying the 30. Same thing with Georgia State, LSU. I knew LSU's going to score, but Georgia State doesn't have the offense, which is what I microed into looking at. The last 5 games, they only scored 14 a game in the Sun Belt, and that's all they did, 14 yesterday. It was 50-something to 14. They win by 40. There you go. So today, again, there's teams like Arizona, Green Bay, the Giants in Washington, the Bears, Oakland, Carolina, Tampa Bay. What are these teams doing in the NFL? These teams could not win in the Pac-10, right? Oregon, Washington, Oregon State, UCLA, and then we'd have Carolina and Atlanta and Arizona. I mean, they wouldn't even win 3-4 games in the Pac-10, or the SEC maybe, but I don't think they could beat Georgia or Alabama or Missouri. Or LSU for that matter. That's the thing. They make you think they can't, but if Georgia played Carolina, I'd lay 10 points with Georgia and I'd win, and I'd feel very comfortable doing it. I mean, they killed Vince Young when he was at Alabama. What are they? They're scared of him. Anyway, a couple of coaches I didn't realize were out. So the A&M coach, I guess, is gone. And the old Mississippi State coach is out. So we'll have to look into those. I didn't know Jumbo Fisher was gone. So how did he win at Florida State and he sucked at A&M? And they didn't even have a good offense at A&M until this year when they got the offensive coordinator. Anyway, so that's today's football. Good luck on it. Again, we're keeping our eye on gold. It's all these countries going to a gold standard has to raise the price because there's too many people and too many dollars they need to print to keep gold at $2,000 an ounce, which isn't a regular price anyway. And I get pissed at these Mark McGuire and Alligator when they don't understand, oh, it's not gold going up, it's the dollar going down. No, it's gold going up. As long as there's demand for a product. So if there's demand for this and this goes up, what the fuck? If this goes up because of demand. So why isn't the same thing true about gold? Why isn't, if people want it for safety and there's more demand than supply, why doesn't the price go up? Why isn't that because of the market? And that's what these guys aren't getting. Do they not understand what a market is? I guess they don't. But then it would be the same for every good. Oreo cookies go up, not because the price of Oreos went up, because the dollar's worthless. But yet they don't say that about Oreos, and the price is up because the dollar's worth less. That's the inflation. So I don't understand why gold is not in the free market category going up because of that. But don't tell me the price of gold doesn't go up. Well, okay, so we know 2,000 is not the real price. So when it goes to 10,000, what happened there, Alligator and Mark McGuire? Did it not go up? Explain why it's not $35 an ounce then. Explain why the paper derivatives are controlling the price and not a free market economy controlling the price of gold. Why isn't it free market? Just like this card. Why isn't it the same as my Mahomes card? What is different about it? So that's my bitch about those guys. They're not economists, they're stockbrokers. And it's hard to listen to stockbrokers because they're not trained in it. They don't understand it. They understand stocks. You would think they would understand markets, but they don't understand gold and the free market because they're not economists. And this is the problem, listening to people that don't understand it. That's really where the problem is. So we'll see. It's going to be an interesting January. I think you'll see the countries, they're all broke. The dollar's worthless. Everybody knows it. They just won't tell you. I'm telling you. So this has no value. This is not worth €5. €5 isn't. Let's put it this way: €5 is worth a pack of gum, right? A cup of coffee. That's what €5 is. Used to be €1 for a cup of coffee. Now it's €5 for a cup of coffee. Coffee didn't get more expensive, as these idiots try to tell you. It's the dollar losing value, but that's not true. It's the market. It's the market realizing that the dollar's lost its value, realizing they need more dollars, realizing it doesn't buy what it used to. So the market starts charging more. Like I said, I was talking to somebody at the pool, I think. And I said, one of the lifeguards, I said to him, well, let's say you wanted to loan me 10 grand for a car. How much do you want to get paid back? Okay, you want to get 13,000 back. Okay. So if you give me 10,000 and I pay you back 13,000, you're probably getting about 8,000 back in inflated dollars. So you have to charge me an interest rate of at least 10% to get your 13,000 in today's dollars back, because you're giving me 10,000 of today's dollars and I'm paying you back in 13,000 inflated dollars. So if you don't charge an interest rate, you're not making any money. Why would you give me the loan? Why would you loan me 10 grand to get nothing? That doesn't make any sense. So he's then the light went on. And that's really what it is that's why the interest rate's high. That's why it's $900 to buy a Camry per month. I paid $470. Now it's up to $900. Who'd buy a car now? So that's why you don't buy the car stocks. Anybody in Tesla's got to be out of their fucking minds. Anybody in GM and Ford always are in their fucking minds because Ford's the worst run company in the world by a mile. I mean, these guys are a bunch of idiots. That's why they keep changing leadership. And really what happens is nobody leads. And then somebody with the name of Ford, who is not qualified, will make a decision and, our stock's down. Let's get rid of this guy. We'll hire another guy. It's just like the Lions. We'll hire another head coach with no experience. They'll hire guys. They hired like a president of like Domino's Pizza or something. What does he know about cars? And of course, then he gets fired, and they go to somebody else, and he gets fired. They go to somebody else, and he gets fired. And they're mostly salesmen, and they look good, like a head coach, and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So, anyway, that's how I view it. I think that the economy's collapsed. It's already collapsed, but you don't know it. It's when the gold's gone from money heist, everybody knows it. When the Titanic sinks, everybody knows it. You can see the hole in the boat, and you see the boat sinking. So everybody knows the boat sank. The problem here is you don't know that we're done. You don't know we don't have any gold, and you don't know the economy's there because they won't tell you that. They'll say everything's fine. I got an interview with a law firm wanting to only pay me $20 an hour. And I'm taking the interview just because I'm curious, like, are you out of your fucking minds or what? What are you thinking? I thought it was a misprint. I thought it was really $51 an hour. Yeah. Okay. What are you guys like on drugs, or do you think would you want a stupid senior financial analyst with the masters? Is that what you would like? I mean, or are you just titling the job senior financial analyst because you think you're smarter than we are and we're stupid and we see the title, but it's really an accounting clerk job or something. And you're hoping we're stupid. I got another thing for like a investment thing, but like as a broker, I guess I'd be selling. It's the same thing there. I'd be like, oh, okay. And then I'd call up people and say, oh, I want you to buy gold. They'll fire me because I'm not selling stocks, but I don't want you to buy stocks. See, my problem is not a problem. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to be the guy on Attack from Wall Street and put you in a real estate trust. And I guarantee you 8%. Oh, wait, except for the market crashing. And then I'm going to get killed by the guy, right? So I care about you, and I care about if I had customers. So I'm not going to sit there and with good faith lie about, buy stocks now, buy GM and Ford and Tesla when I know they're terrible buys, and so is the stock market. It's about to collapse. So if I'm talking to people about investments for their future, for their kids, you're buying gold. And I don't care if I make commission because I care that the people can do it as I do here and as I do in the pool. So that's why I was talking to another lifeguard. And when I told him the gold's going to 50,000 an ounce, the guy like, oh my God. And I go, well, 2,000 isn't the real price. It's the paper price. They keep selling derivatives, and that's the price. And when I heard Mark McGuire say, well, it could have hit 2,500 or 3,000. I said, you're talking paper. Why are you talking paper? And I leave it in the comments. Now, they never get back to me with the comments. And I never see anybody else comment on mine. But it's just fucking ridiculous. These people are, oh, great show, Mark. Yeah, who's that, your son? I mean, come on. That's why I don't like comments. My friends are going to say good, and then the people who oppose me are going to say you're stupid. And I already know I'm good, and I know I'm not stupid. So I don't need people who are. I don't need the Bitcoiners going, "Oh, buy Bitcoin. Gold's not going to do anything," because I'm not. I'm. This is not. This is a show. This is my skill set. Not. I'm not guessing. I know what's going to happen. Not a guess. Just like the professor, he knew when he took the 90 tons of gold and he showed it, he knew there'd be a collapse and the market would collapse and their debt would collapse and their currency would collapse. He knew that was going to happen. That's how I am. I know the gold price is going to the moon because all the currencies are basically Ponzi scheme. They're printing them and you can't print them to zero. This is the problem with the Ponzi scheme. So they think they can just keep printing and there won't be any damage. Yet Putin and Xi understand exactly what's going on, going, well, no, that's the Keynesian view. We've got to buy gold to protect ourselves because their money's worthless. That's why I wonder who sanctioned who. It comes across like the U.S. sanctioned Russia, but I'm wondering if that's really what happened. Because now Putin can go ahead with the green light of putting gold-backed currency out. And he can say, look, you sanctioned me. I'm coming. I'm protecting myself. So what are you going to do with the guy? Plus, we're at war with them about the gold-backed currency. And they're saying, fuck you. We've got 32,000 tons and you have zero. And we're going to come out with it. So they all want to bankrupt the U.S. And Europe's starting to figure it out, too. They all don't like what they're doing to Russia. And their heating oil is expensive, and so they also want to get out of the dollar, and they know the gold will kill the dollar. So it's always the golden goose that lays the golden egg, and that's a good thing to live by. Anyway, so again, the Ponzi scheme is the banks are the Madoff. They're the ones printing the dollars, making them worthless without knowing that. All the dollars have no value in the whole world. They're just paper. The only thing with value is gold and silver. And that you have to understand. So the Ponzi scheme is they're printing it, but they don't want your money. So in the Madoff Ponzi scheme, I would give Madoff $100,000 and he'd give me $10,000 a year or $15,000 a year. He'd give me 15%. So I'd get $15,000 a year for my 100, not knowing what he's doing. And he's scrambling to get other people into it. So then he's got to sit there and he's got to pay this huge list of people that have invested with him because people are all making money and they're going, oh, this is great. The difference is there is no people going into the government or going into the banks. This is the banks printing the money and not having to give it to anybody. And by doing it, they're making the value of the dollar go to zero. And then everybody gets fucked over. We're Madoff. It was only the people that put it in. And then we had to pay, through our tax dollars to reimburse people. Here, even if you didn't put in, which you're not, you're all getting fucked because it's going to zero. And your dollar is going to zero. This won't have a value. So your only out is gold will go through the roof because the dollar drops. And now so really what it is from a fundamental standpoint, you have gold, you have the dollar. But as soon as people don't have faith in the dollar anymore, because you got to believe it, right? Well, it's sort of like football, right? You have faith in you have faith in Kansas City, and then as soon as they start losing, or let's say Buffalo, so you have faith in Buffalo, and then all of a sudden they're no good anymore. You don't have faith in them anymore, and that's what happens. That's like the dollar. So you don't have faith in the dollar having value. So what do? You I don't want to hold the dollar. I don't want to bet on Buffalo. I don't want to bet on USC. So you end up with the perception and the faith and whatever you want to call it is I don't want to hold dollars anymore. They're not worth it. Look at why, if they're that strong, are the prices going up? Oh, that's inflation. Prices going up. No, it's not. That's the market. The market determines prices. Prices are an indication of what things are selling for. It is not inflation. So inflation is printing the dollar. Therefore, inflation is strictly what's going on there. And therefore, you print the money and all of a sudden prices go up if they are allowed to. As I said, you can't just raise. The lady could make her Chinese General Chow. She can make it $30 a dinner. She ain't going to sell any of it. She's about at her point, 15. Any more price hikes, I'll see you later. Or once a month I'll come. You can't price yourself out of the market. Ribs for $45 a slab. The Camry at $35,000. You ain't selling it. And that's the problem. You're over the market. The market says what I'll buy it for. That's why inflation is not prices going up per se. It's the dollar losing. It's the dollar has no value. And as people realize that, it doesn't raise prices. Only if it can. And only on milk and bread and eggs, not Oreo cookies. It can take a price hike, but nobody needs Oreo cookies. Nobody needs Coca-Cola. So if they want to raise their price, it's not going to work because it's not needed, like milk and bread and that, which I don't eat anyway. So to me, it's not. I need broccoli and cauliflower and red, yellow, and orange bell peppers. That's what I need. But that's what's happening. So as people realize that there's no value, the party's over, and then they will realize, but there's no other dollar to put it in. This is the beauty of what's happening. You can't go Swiss francs, British pounds, Australian, German. There's nowhere else to put your money but gold and silver. That's the beauty of it. The substitute. So the substitute good is the New York strip's $20. The Delmonico's $10. I'll buy the Delmonico. It's $10 cheaper. I'll substitute. Or if it gets too high, I'll substitute with hamburger. Or I'll substitute with roast, or I'll substitute with chicken. Substitution is the key when prices go up. You buy something else, right? But in this case, there's nothing else. You've got to get out of the dollar. There's nothing else to go into but gold and silver. You cannot choose another dollar. And what else can you use to buy things, right? Bitcoin, you can't buy things with. That's the problem with it. It's not money. I can't, Bitcoin there's no difference between this and Bitcoin, except this is actually limited to 50 and I can buy it and sell it on eBay. I don't need these codes and, I lost my code. I just lost $1 million. This you turn into money by selling it on eBay. The Bitcoin, you can't even sell on eBay, nor you can't use it to go to the grocery store, go to dinner. Maybe one or two places takes it. But good luck. And what's the value of it? So you don't have a choice. Your only choice is gold and silver. Now, I don't know why the people are so adverse to gold and silver. It's a no-brainer. It's the best thing to be in. It's got no risk. And it's not zero-party risk. It's they can't print it. They can't print it like they print the dollars to zero. You can't print gold. I wish they'd stop saying zero party risk because nobody knows what the fuck they're talking about and just keep it simple, stupid. You can't print or copy gold, therefore the price cannot get crushed. It's as simple as that. And that's what you got to understand. So once you understand that, then there's no other place to put your money in besides gold and silver. Not the stock market, not the banks. The banks are all paper. You got $100,000 in paper money and the paper money is worthless. You got zero. Or you can buy 50 ounces of gold with your $100,000, which is going to go up to 20, 30,000 an ounce. Well, it's kind of deceiving because the dollar won't have a value, so gold won't be 30,000 an ounce. It'll be much higher. It'll be whatever it buys. And because it's the only currency, the only money, and there's no other money, it'll really go up. Then you can sit there and go, I want to buy the house. I'll give you 1 ounce of gold. And the guy's going to say, what's he going to say? Well, I'll take dollars. I'll take Swiss francs. I'll take Bitcoin. No, he's going to say, okay, great. I get gold. It's worth something. Once people realize it, but people are so in the dark, and I can't understand it. They're scared to learn. They're scared to understand. They're scared to be wrong. I don't know what it is. I don't know what is going through people's minds that when you tell them that, they still don't believe it. You're just like, to quote Bobby, shake my head. I don't understand. What the fuck do you got to do to get people to realize that there's no value in it? So anyway, that's what's going on. Buy your gold and silver now, because you won't be able to get it later at these low paper prices. The paper 2000 what's the 2000 worth? I mean, it's worth less in a month than it is now. So you're buying gold at 2000, but funny how the price doesn't show in gold. Why isn't, we know the inflation's there. We know if we loan you money, we know we're getting paid back in inflated dollars that are, so if I give you 10 grand, I want more than 10 grand back because I'm getting 10 grand of inflated dollars, which means I'm getting 7 grand back. I gave you 10. I don't, you only give me back 7. What kind of stupid deal is that? So again, a lot of Keynesians, a lot of people don't fucking understand Austrian economics. They don't understand what's happening. And it's sort of like Madoff in the fact that they just knew they were getting paid, so they didn't know it was a Ponzi scheme. Now, I do believe some people just trusted that he's a good guy and he's on Wall Street and my father's with him, or I know somebody who's with them and they get paid every month, so they don't ask, they just put it in. Do you want to make 10%, 15% a month? And they go, yeah, that'd be great. Who wouldn't, right? So I'm giving you the opportunity in gold, but there's no Madoff at the end where all of a sudden it's worthless, right? And then I don't understand the revaluation, the Federal Reserve revaluing gold. Why aren't we just going at market value? What do you mean revalue? So I don't really understand that at all. Doesn't make any sense to me. So with that said, that's where we're at. Even if they revalue it low, I would not. Every country in the world, gold's hitting record prices. But because it's priced everything in dollars, it doesn't really reflect it. Because then the FX rate gets changed, and then it's, if the currency to dollar has gone up, even though gold's gone up, well, it's not really gold going up. It's the FX rate of the dollar, so therefore it's record high, but it's not, because the exchange rate to the dollar is much higher. Like in Russia, it went from $70 to now it's $95. So my $100 buys Daria $9,500, where it was $7,500. So gold goes up because if you're pricing it in rubles, the value of the ruble went down. So it's a Ponzi scheme there too. It's really not going up. It's just the dollar losing value. And this is really why everybody wants BRICS and wants out of the dollar, because they're getting killed on the dollar. So things are more expensive for them because of the dollar, and that's why they want to get out of the U.S. And that's why they want to get into gold. You can't fuck around with gold. Nobody can change the gold price, just the market. Nobody can say this, that, or the other. Where right now the FX rate, it's a fucking joke. These countries are so fucking stupid to go along with it. And like I said, why are we using the paper price, $2,000 as our price for gold? It should be free market and not a premium. Oh, 2,000 plus 100 for a premium. No, it should be, what is the free market price of gold? And really, it's going to come down to what are people willing to part with it at? And that's when we get the free market. So as I said, I went into the store. The guy offered me $2,000. I says, you mean 20 grand? No, 2 grand? No, I'm not interested in 2 grand. 20 grand, I got interest. That's what I'm willing to part with it. That's the value. It's what I'm willing to part with it is the value of gold. And if I feel it's going up because I understand inflation means this is going to zero, why would I part with it at 2000 when I know it's going to be a higher number later? And yes, Alligator and Mark McGuire, it's not going to stay the same. It's the dollar losing. The dollar's lost 99%. So I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. They're clueless. It's the market that dictates, and you got to get rid of this COMEX, and then let's go to a fair market. This is the price of gold on the free market. And I don't know why the governments don't want that, because then they lose power because all their money's worthless unless you're smart enough, like Russia, China, and now apparently the European countries, to actually have gold. Oh, then they're fine. They won't lose the value. That's why all the central banks are buying gold, is because they know it's going to go up. It's a no-brainer. So that's really what we're waiting for. And that's going to happen soon. But it is gold going up from the paper price to the physical price is what these guys aren't getting. And I put it in their comments. Why you keep talking paper price? Let's go to the real free market physical price of gold, which I'm sure is about 20,000 right now, just based on the inflation and the fact that the dollar's worthless. I'm sure they read my comments. They just don't want to give me credit for my ideas, which kind of pisses me off, but that's okay. At the end of the day, I'm sitting on gold and silver and I'll be okay. So yeah, they can manipulate it as much as they want right now, but at the end of the day, it's got to go free market. And the Russians and Chinese and Europeans want gold much, much higher because they got to print the paper and they have a lot of it. So if I have it, I got my gold and silver. I want the price to go up. If I don't have it, I want the price to stay. So if I'm trying to buy gold, yeah, stay at 2,000. But if I got it, yeah, go to 20,000. I've already got it. And that's where the Russians and Chinese are at. They're like, let's go. So I'm on Putin's side on this one. I can hang out there. This time he's right, and he's just protecting. His dollar's worthless, and he knows it, and he knows gold has a value that the U.S. right now the U.S. is controlling, and he's trying to get that out. He's trying to get out of COMEX so the price goes to a free market price, and he needs the dollar to blow up because the ruble is so poor right now. Like I said, $1 buys you 95. It's so poor. He wants that. He wants a fair market price of the ruble. So once we get to gold, everything will, the prices will go zoom, and all the prices of everything in dollars, like milk and cornflakes, will be revalued in gold and silver, like the Romans. I mean, how did the Romans do it, right? They had dimes, silver quarters, gold dimes, gold quarters, and then you had something for sale and they bought it. It's always a marketplace. There's always sellers and there's always buyers, and they set the price, not the government. When the government tries, like in Cuba or Russia, what happens? They collapse because the government can't set the price. We have to be the market, and we have to set the price. Because if the price is too high, we don't buy. If the price is too low, the manufacturer doesn't make it if you can't make money. So it's all a very simple process. I'm gonna buy this pen, and it costs me $2, and I'm gonna sell it for $3 in the market. And if there's people in the market that'll buy it for $3, it costs me $2. I make money. They get it at a good price of $3. But if you're forcing price fixing on me, you must sell it for $1.50. I'm out of business because it cost me $2 to make it. So I'm not going to make it for $2 and sell it for $1.50. What kind of fucking market is that? That's the beauty of the market. You want it, I'll make it for you, but I got to sell it at this price to cover my cost. And if I can't, then I don't. And if I can, I do. And that's the thing with electric cars. They've got to sell them at this high price because the volumes are low and nobody wants them. So they're not asking the question, do you want it? They're just trying to sell it. And the government we'll have zero pollution. Yeah, keep dreaming there, fella. Zero pollution. Who cares? There's nothing wrong with the planet now, unless you're being lied to, which the government never lies to us. So that's where we're at. So go watch some football. I'm going to go to the club, get my swimming in because they close at 4:30, and off we go. So have a great day. Good luck. Hope the Niners come through for you. Free pick will be probably Ohio State, but I got to check. So if you want to bet the Niners with Ohio State, if you got that, then I'd say go ahead, take the 9.5. Just make sure nobody's injured, which I don't know. I haven't heard. Like the Florida State quarterback we know is hurt. Joe Burrow we know is hurt. We don't have to really check on that. So this will be very interesting to see how good Florida State's backup quarterback is. But again, he probably got hurt running. These quarterbacks don't want to slide. Now, Gabriel had a head injury at Oklahoma. I don't know if he was running and took a shot or I didn't see that play. But anyway, think logically. Gold, there's no option there. There's no substitute. You can get out of steak for a hamburger, but you can't get out of gold. There's no option. There's no substitute for gold, and the paper is gone. It's all Ponzi scheme. So if you just understand that concept, the paper's printed to zero, but people don't realize it yet. Just like on the Titanic, it hit the iceberg, but people aren't realizing that they're going to sink. But it's got a hole in it, and the water is coming up, but they don't realize it yet. I'd have been on the first lifeboat going, okay, lower me down. I guess we got an idiot captain who can't see a fucking iceberg. So that's basically what's going on. So good luck today. Again, your free pick, San Francisco, which I think is a 4:00 game, should murder Tampa Bay. I don't think it'll be close. And we'll see. Otherwise, you got a lot of crap today. All right. Philadelphia tomorrow, and Buffalo, the Jets, good game. Denver and Minnesota, tonight's game should be a good game. All right, www.teaserking.com. Take care, everybody. Have a good day. See you tomorrow. I don't know, 1-ish, 2-ish. I'll figure it out. All right. Take care.